The year is 1916. The Great War engulfs Europe. The hallowed halls of the British House of Lords are the setting for a legal battle that will resonate for decades. At the heart of the matter is a seemingly simple question. Can a company have a nationality separate from its shareholders? The case is Continental Tyre and Rubber Co. Ltd v Daimler Co. Ltd, and its outcome will redefine how we perceive corporations in times of war. The stakes are high. The decision will impact not only the warring nations, but also the future of international law and commerce. The case revolves around Continental Tyre, a company incorporated in England but with German roots. The company finds itself caught in the crosshairs of war. Its business dealings become subject to intense scrutiny. The British government seeks to seize its assets, claiming it as an enemy entity. Continental Tyre, however, argues that its incorporation in England shields it from such action. The case throws into sharp relief the complex relationship between a company's legal identity and the nationality of its shareholders. The House of Lords, Britain's highest court of appeal, must now grapple with this unprecedented situation. The world watches as the law lords convene to deliver their verdict. Their decision will have far-reaching consequences. It will determine the fate of Continental Tyre. More importantly, it will establish a precedent for how corporations are treated during times of international conflict. The case highlights the challenges posed by globalization and the evolving nature of corporate structures in a world increasingly defined by interconnectedness. The Continental Tyre case is more than just a legal dispute. It is a microcosm of the broader tensions and complexities of war. It lays bare the challenges of balancing national security interests with the principles of international law. The case underscores the importance of legal clarity in navigating the often murky waters of wartime trade and commerce. The House of Lords' decision will serve as a touchstone for future generations grappling with similar issues. This is particularly relevant in our modern era of multinational corporations and globalized trade. Continental Tyre and Rubber Co. Ltd was, on the surface, a British company. It was registered in England and traded rubber tyres. However, beneath this veneer of Britishness lay a web of German connections. The majority shareholder was a German company. Most of its directors were German nationals residing in Germany. This seemingly mundane detail, the nationality of its ownership, would become the crux of the legal battle. World War I cast a long shadow over Europe, impacting every facet of life, including the operations of businesses. The outbreak of war brought with it a wave of nationalism and suspicion towards anything remotely associated with enemy nations. Continental Tyre, despite its British registration, found itself entangled in this web of suspicion due to its German ownership and directorship. The British government, wary of any potential advantage for the enemy, viewed the company with a sceptical eye. At the heart of the legal dilemma was the concept of corporate nationality. Traditionally, a company's nationality was determined by its place of incorporation. This principle, enshrined in international law, afforded companies a degree of protection. They could operate within the legal framework of their incorporated jurisdiction. However, the Continental Tyre case challenged this notion. The British government argued that the company's German ownership and control superseded its British registration, essentially rendering it an enemy entity. This argument struck at the very core of corporate identity. If a company's nationality could be so easily disregarded based on its shareholders' nationality, it would have dire consequences for international trade. Companies operating in multiple countries could find themselves subject to the whims of wartime politics. The fundamental principles of corporate law and the sanctity of contracts would be undermined. The outcome of this case would have far-reaching implications, potentially reshaping the landscape of international business. The Continental Tyre case began its journey in the lower courts, where the initial rulings reflected the wartime anxieties gripping Britain. The High Court, influenced by the prevailing atmosphere of suspicion, ruled in favour of the British government. They declared Continental Tyre an enemy company, effectively freezing its assets. This decision sent shockwaves through the business community. both in Britain and internationally. It raised serious concerns about the security of investments and the sanctity of contracts during times of war. The Court of Appeal, however, overturned the High Court's decision. They held that Continental Tyre's legal status as a British company should be upheld. This provided a glimmer of hope for the company and its shareholders. It seemed as if the principles of corporate law might prevail over wartime anxieties. The British government, however, was not about to let the matter rest. Determined to seize Continental Tyre's assets, they appealed to the highest court in the land, the House of Lords. The House of Lords, in a landmark decision, ruled in favour of Continental Tyre. The Law Lords recognised the company's legal standing as separate from its shareholders' nationality. They emphasised that a company, once incorporated under British law, is considered a separate legal entity. They argued that this status cannot be disregarded based on the nationality of its shareholders. This landmark ruling had profound implications for international corporate law. The decision in Continental Tyre v. Daimler established a crucial precedent. It affirmed the principle of separate legal personality for corporations, even during times of war. This separation meant that a company's nationality and legal rights were not automatically determined by the nationality of its shareholders. The ruling provided a degree of certainty for businesses operating in an increasingly interconnected world. It reassured international investors that their investments would be protected by the rule of law, even in times of geopolitical upheaval. Section 4. Repercussions of a landmark ruling, international law and wartime trade. The House of Lords' decision in the Continental Tyre case sent ripples through the legal landscape, both domestically and internationally. It had profound implications for international corporate law, wartime business operations, and the very concept of corporate personhood. The ruling underscored the importance of respecting the separate legal identity of corporations, even during times of conflict. This principle proved crucial for maintaining stability in international trade and investment. One of the most significant impacts of the case was its contribution to the development of the control test. This test, which emerged in the aftermath of the Continental Tyre case, offered a more nuanced approach to determining a company's nationality during wartime. It went beyond the simplistic approach of solely considering the place of incorporation. Instead, it took into account the nationality of the individuals or entities that held effective control over the company. The introduction of the control test allowed courts to pierce the corporate veil and scrutinize the true nature of a company's operations and allegiances during times of war. This proved particularly relevant in cases where enemy nationals, despite not holding a majority stake, effectively controlled a company's operations to the detriment of national interests. The control test, while controversial, provided a valuable tool for balancing the need to protect national security with the principles of international law and the sanctity of corporate identity. The Continental Tyre case also shed light on the complexities of wartime trading and the challenges of regulating international commerce during times of conflict. The case highlighted the need for clear legal frameworks to govern the activities of companies operating across borders, particularly in times of war. It underscored the importance of international cooperation in establishing consistent rules and mechanisms for resolving disputes related to corporate nationality and wartime trade. The legacy of the Continental Tyre case extends far beyond the specific legal principles it established. It serves as a potent reminder of the enduring tension between national interests and international legal norms, particularly in times of conflict. The case underscores the importance of judicial independence and the rule of law in upholding the rights of individuals and corporations, even in the face of wartime pressures. Section 5. The enduring legacy of Continental Tyre. Corporate identity in times of conflict. The Continental Tyre case stands as a testament to the enduring power of legal precedent. Over a century later, its impact continues to shape our understanding of corporate personhood and nationality, especially in times of conflict. The case serves as a stark reminder that even amidst the chaos of war, the rule of law must prevail. The principles of fairness, due process and respect for legal rights, so meticulously upheld by the House of Lords, remain as relevant today as they were in 1960. The case's legacy is particularly resonant in our modern era of globalization, marked by the rise of multinational corporations with intricate ownership structures and global operations. The principles established in Continental Tyre provide a framework for navigating the complexities of corporate nationality in a world where businesses seamlessly transcend national borders. The control test, developed in the case's wake, continues to be a valuable tool for courts grappling with the challenges of balancing national security interests with the need to protect legitimate business operations. The Continental Tyre case also serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the potential for governments to overreach in times of crisis. The initial attempts by the British government to seize Continental Tyre's assets, based solely on the nationality of its shareholders, underscore the dangers of allowing wartime anxieties to undermine the rule of law. The case reminds us of the importance of judicial independence and the need for courts to serve as a bulwark against executive overreach, ensuring that the rights of all parties are protected, even during times of national emergency. In an increasingly interconnected world, where businesses operate across multiple jurisdictions and allegiances can be fluid, the principles established in Continental Tyre remain as relevant as ever. The case underscores the need for clarity and predictability in international law. It highlights the importance of upholding the separate legal personality of corporations while acknowledging the need for mechanisms to address potential abuses and protect national interests. The Continental Tyre case, therefore, continues to be a vital point of reference for lawyers, policymakers and business leaders navigating the complexities of our globalized world.